It doesn't matter if you live in Nebraska or even another country. All kids want the same thing. They have this desire to be loved and accepted. Kids want a relationship with a caring adult.
We live in a culture where kids are desperately searching for meaning, purpose, and value. They are trying to figure out what the future will hold for them. They are on this incredible search.
Kids today are under an extreme amount of pressure trying to fit in, make friends, and perform. They will do anything to belong. They're in search of genuine relationships, and I think that kids desperately need adults to come alongside them, get in the middle of the mess, and love them no matter what.
So Young Life and Wildlife is adults entering in youth's world. And what I love about it is we're not asking them to come to us. We are going into their world where they are, in the schools, their games, the mall, wherever, and meeting them for who they are, where they are, and how they are. We're not asking them to change. We're not asking them to be something they're not, but just we want a relationship with kids.
Young Life leaders get to enter a kid's life, love them, and accept them exactly where they are without judgment. We get to do life with kids, and they get to see Jesus through it. What could be better?
Well, Young Life started back in 1941. There was a seminary student working at a church down in Texas, and the head pastor came to him and said, "Hey, you're doing a great job with, the church is doing a great job with kids that are coming into the building. We want you to go find the kids that aren't." And so Jim Rayburn started trying to figure out how to reach kids that aren't coming to church. Either they're disinterested or they just have no connection. And so he started strategizing and building this thing that eventually became Young Life.
What I love about being a Young Life and Wildlife leader is our commitment to every kid. Those who are raised in a church and those who've never set foot in a church. And in order to do that, we do a lot to invite our kids in. Every other week we have club at school. And the clubs, they get a little crazy, they get a little wild, that's why Wildlife is in the name. And we have things like music, we have activities, we have games, we have food, and that food's not always for eating, so that's where things can get a little messy. But overall, it's awesome. And in the midst of all that craziness, the fun and the games, we have the opportunity to share the gospel about Jesus with our kids. And we get to share it with them in a way that's not boring and distant like reading an old book. We get to share it in a way that's applicable, meeting the kids where they are.
Club is a place where kids get to learn more about God. They get to learn more about who Jesus is and how much He loves them and make a decision for themselves. Club is also a safe and fun environment where kids get to come and play and just have people there who love them.
In that relationship, we can have this deep conversation about life, about faith, and about who Jesus really is.
So one of my favorite things about Young Life is that we do adventure fun, and relationships and Jesus. So in the adventure part, we take kids to camp every summer. We go to places like Colorado or Minnesota, far away, and we take them out in the wilderness. So there's always this element of just being outside and enjoying nature, whether it's the beach or whether it's the mountains. And I think the biggest compliment we know of all is that one of the moms said, yes, they're coming back to camp next year.
When kids are surrounded by other kids and adults who are making positive decisions, it is contagious. And most importantly, loving Jesus is contagious. Our vision is that every kid will have the opportunity to know Jesus. Every kid deserves to know who God is, and every kid deserves to know that somebody loves them.
I really like going to Wildlife because I just feel accepted there, and it's really helped me bring me closer to God. The clubs are really fun, and you feel welcome, and I had an awesome time at camp.
Growing up, Young Life impacted me in a lot of ways, and I feel like it really empowered me, and it really gave me a place to show my leadership skills, and there's so many great things that it did, and it was just very solid, formative years.
Well, I feel very fortunate to have been involved in Young Life during my high school years. It really provided a network of support for kids who are interested in examining the deeper things in life. It was a place of comfort and a place of solace where I knew there was regular and consistent interaction. I would highly encourage parents to encourage their own children to be part of this network, to be part of Young Life.
When I started off as a wildlife leader last year, I was just trying it out to do a little bit of volunteer work and work with kids and seeing if it was a good fit. And over the past year, what I've learned and what I've experienced is that God has really used it not only to allow me an opportunity to invest in the lives of others, but for my own life to be transformed.
I really appreciated how the influence of the Young Life leaders, what they did, how they impacted Erica. She was learning and growing in ways that I was just thrilled with. Erica has such a strong foundation now thanks to Young Life.
There is a need for a program like this here in the Norfolk area, and when I learned what Wildlife and Young Life were all about, I jumped on board. And since then, I'm heavily involved in the program as a committee member, donor, and our kids are involved in wildlife. We have a mission field right here in Northeast Nebraska. Would you please consider making an eternal investment in the lives of our youth?
Investing in Young Life and wildlife is an incredibly worthwhile investment. I hope that more and more people decide to say yes to investing in the lives of young people in our community.